Hey guys, I just had a really interesting thought. I'm sitting here, happy St. Patrick's Day first. I got my favorite green ring on, all the green. And green's my favorite color, or one of them. Green and the color of my nail polish is my favorite. So, all right, so check this out. So sometimes I have like these deep thoughts and I don't necessarily know why, but I had a conversation with my aunt earlier about like we were watching the television, or she was watching TV. I overheard it. I was in the kitchen and they were talking about Trump running in 2020. And I know she's big on the Democratic side and part of the team that thinks Trump is evil, and he's the one that has divided everybody. But I told her, I said, this has been in play for over 50 years. All of this stuff that's happening, I said, he's completely pro-Israel, but that's not a good thing because that small country is literally running our country. If you look and see how many of our politicians and federal workers have dual Israeli and United States citizenship, those people that have that are actually loyal to Israel over America, and they make no secret about it. So I'm telling her that, and I said, now there's the Jewish millennials and other people who are Jewish. Apparently, there's a Jew exodus or something going over to support Trump because he supports Israel so much. So I was telling her this, I said, so that's going to be a whole other market that he's going to attend to. I said, but this is all, basically, prophesied in the Bible anyway. I'm like, it was bound to happen. The Antichrist is coming out of Israel. I mean, I was told that by a few people that kind of know things on the inside. And, but the more that things go on and happen, the more it makes sense. You know what I mean? With the Noahide laws and that are being secretly put into our legislatures. And I'll go over that later. But so I'm wondering, because I know that with the MK Ultra programming, that there was something called a Janus End Times programming that was put in back in the 70s and 80s for this time now. And I'm almost wondering if the Project Mockingbird reporters are not in mass putting out, like when they do their newscasts and things like that, if they're not putting out mass mind control codes, because I believe that the End Times Janus programming was done on a mass scale to people, like in the schools and in military bases and families and things like that. And I think that's why so many people are so polarized now. And those of us who, even though I am an MK Ultra survivor, I broke my programming as far as that kind of stuff went. When all of this began, I was inadvertently a Christian Zionist, and I didn't even know. I was a relatively new Christian starting in about 2011. And most of the books that I read and most of the people that I listened to were Christian Zionist based. And, and I thought Israel could do no wrong. I thought when they came back to Israel, like, and repopulated it, I was even told that like nothing would grow there. And then when they returned, everything would grow and they were the chosen people. And you know what I mean? So the usual. And I didn't know any better not to, because, so when everything happened in 2015, I still, held those beliefs very strong. But then as I started to find out that it was actually a synagogue in Tel Aviv that's been watching everything that I've done since at least 2011 that I can trace back through IP addresses and stuff, the same synagogue has followed me even till now. So, and I mean, what are the chances from 2011 to 2019, the same synagogue in Israel being on, periodically on your stuff? unless there's something going on with that. And I believe it goes back to, they say that, in the end times, your family and friends, you'll be at war with your family and friends, and they'll serve you your name up to the synagogue for death. Well, that happened to me back in 2011. And that was when I started to have murder attempts. So, several, and kidnapping attempts and all kinds of attempts, just nonstop attempts. And they still haven't stopped. So I'm wondering if that, there's a possibility on the Christian Zionist side that there's not mind control triggers to basically make them, sell out to Israel when the time comes, and believe, just be brainwashed that Israel is everything and can do no wrong, and they're God's chosen and that, but their Messiah is different than ours. Do you know what I mean? So their Messiah is something that is anti what what real Christians' Messiah is. And I don't really push the Christianity thing. I'm being persecuted, just like the Bible had said. And I was warned, when all this began, and I didn't quite think it would happen right away, because I also back then was under the impression that every day be Friday, like Joel Osteen says. I didn't know what I was getting into. So yeah, it was kind of weird. So, but I'm wondering now if there isn't a mass mind control operation going on through Project Mockingbird reporters, maybe saying MK Ultra codes that trigger people to hate the other side, or to blindly only see Trump as good, or blindly only see, Hillary Clinton, Obama, and all them, that whole team is good. And because we're so polarized as a nation, where people have literally lost their minds and are fighting, and that only happens with mind control. So I'm wondering if that is not the case, because overnight, people with me changed. And I know a lot of you have gone through this. So I'm I don't know. I'm wondering now, the television programming, if that's not what's been going on, and why all of, our friends and family and, and people that we have known and loved have turned on us in ways that are just mind-boggling, and then acting like we're some kind of an enemy. That can only really be done with mind control. So I'm wondering, with the End Times Janus programming, that I'm going to look more into that. That was done out of NORAD in Colorado Springs. I'm going to find out what those code words are and try to see, or just get more information. I never thought to look into it, as deeply as I want to now, because I've been, for lack of a better word, triggered to look into this. So yeah, I don't know. This is my theory. I think now that, with the radio waves and everything going on, the electronic weapons, hey Holly, and maybe that's why they're hitting us targets so hard in our brains with electronic weapons, because I know that I specifically get hit in the right side of my brain and in the occipitals. And I have directed dreams that are only about people who I have no contact with. And it's always like, oh, why are you here? Even in my dream, I'm like, shit, God, stop stalking me. I never have kind of a sexy dream about Wolverine or anything. No, I have these bizarre, dreams about family members who I just don't want anything to do with. But it feels almost like it's a brainwashing situation. And then whenever I wake up from those dreams, my occipitals feel completely ripped up, burned up, like they're killing me. So I'm wondering if maybe they're keeping us isolated as part of the mind control app, because I know I've just had straight MK Ultra every single day for since 2015, nonstop, unrelenting targeting. There used to be a pattern to it. Now there's no pattern to my targeting at all. It's just every day. I handle it relatively well. It's been worse at certain times. But yeah, so I think I'm onto something, So, because I know that the people that I've grown up with and loved over the years, who I never thought would turn on me, all of a sudden a quick trip to Disney in Florida, and they were gone. And I know that sounds crazy, but there was two people that specifically went there and came back and were not really like my family anymore. And they were my best friends. So who knows? I don't know. It's very crazy. So this will be my point of research tonight. All right, guys. Just a thought. Leave a comment below. Bye.